It is June 3rd today, and if you are seeing this on June 6th, then it has been 1 year since we were diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder.
Come and fly away with me. Come and fly away with me. Come and fly away with me. Come and fly away with me.
We're pretty co-conscious right now. Jay is definitely around and was sort of asking me to make this video. Just kind of giving you guys an update. We've been editing some of our other videos. We've recorded a lot of footage that we still have not finished editing. So it's somewhat low right now. So we're very co-conscious right now. Jay is very close to the front and is excited about filming this video. My mind has just been elsewhere today, but we've been working on editing some of our projects, or the videos that we recorded so far, leading up to and during and even after our trip to Ohio for the D.I.D meet and greet. And editing is taking a bit longer than we thought, so we figured we would just give a bit of a brief update on where we're at currently, what you guys can expect from us moving forward, and what you may see on this channel, because we don't know an exact direction that we're going to be taking with this channel, but we plan to make more videos. We continue to record things and haven't just caught up to ourselves in terms of releasing the footage that we've recorded so far. We're very co-conscious right now. Jay is very close to the front, and there are several of us that are excited to put out content. We're all very nervous about opening up and sharing our story and being vulnerable with you guys here on the internet, but it's been refreshing to be able to unmask and to be able to talk about these things. And I think that connecting with others that are going through similar things and just opening up and showing people a glimpse of what our day-to-day experience looks like could be helpful, not only for us but for others who are wanting to learn more about this disorder and really wanting to learn more about us. So we're trying to open up, and that's what this is looking like so far. We realized that in 3 days it will be 1 year exactly since we were diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. It's wild to think it's been that long. It feels like it's been a while, but it doesn't feel like a year has gone by. For some of us, it feels like that was a few days ago, and it's wild to think that this is real. So much of this disorder is built up around denial, and for us, it has been a very covert disorder, and I think we still tend to present very covertly when we don't want someone to know who is fronting. Generally, they're not going to see many of the differences, because we tend to know somewhat what's expected of us when people see us. And that's not to say that all of us are brilliant with social cues, because we're definitely not. But we're somewhat aware of how we're perceived generally, or the name that the body holds, and our bullet points of information that we should know. And so taking down the mask and just allowing ourselves each to be ourselves feels very strange. And communicating more with each other, and not just pushing each other away out of fear or confusion or overwhelm, a sense of just being overwhelmed by this information, and the fact that for years we told ourselves that we couldn't trust our own experience. For years we tried to tell ourselves and each other that none of this could be real, that the things that had happened to us couldn't be real, that the memories, the flashbacks, any of it couldn't be real. And that's part of the dissociation, the sense of denial and separation from our experiences. The ability to disconnect from our experiences is what allowed us to survive for many years. And so to undo that feels very unnatural. And it feels like it's going against our basic instincts. So we logically or conceptually understand that this is something that in the long run will be a step toward healing, opening up and accepting this for ourselves, and being able to talk about it, and being confident enough and feeling safe enough to talk about it. But theory and practice are two very different things, and actually opening up about it feels very surreal. We're very spacey right now. What was I saying? Okay. So I think it's mostly Jay right now. Lo's definitely still around, but I feel like she's not wanting to be in the front right now. We're very co-conscious. She's just saying, like, she's not sure exactly what I want her to say in this video. And okay. Sorry about that. We're very co-conscious, and okay, I'm gonna ground a bit. We'll have to edit some of this out, but so it's still low. I think. but we're very blendy, we're very co-conscious, we're somewhat co-fronting actually, where it feels like you're not quite sure who has control. It feels like if you've ever started playing a video game and not realized which character your controller was attached to. It's like that moment of watching the wrong screen and realizing that you're not the one in control. It's kind of how it feels right now. But I think it's mostly low. That's short for Lorelei. Although that name has never fully felt like mine, I never quite felt attached to the body's name, but I never just felt a name that felt safe and felt like mine and felt like something I wanted to share with the world. And so low is the closest I've found so far. But if I end up finding a name that feels more like mine, maybe I'll change it. But this is me. And in 3 days, it will have been a year since we were diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. And that is just very surreal to admit. Some days it feels like we have learned to embrace and accept this, and it feels like we're making steps toward healing. But one thing we have definitely learned in this journey as healing is very much not linear. There's some days that we feel like we can take on the world, and we're working together, and we're communicating, and we're learning things about ourselves and each other. And there are moments that feel beautiful, realizing that through the times that we felt so isolated, we weren't alone. Uncovering pieces of ourselves that we didn't quite understand were even there. And getting to understand more about the way that our system works and ourselves and each other. But we've also felt very held back in our current situation. In some respects, in most of our daily life, we feel an immense pressure to mask. And for those of us that present fairly differently than the hosts, it feels sometimes unsafe for us to be around, or at least it feels unsafe for us to actually be ourselves. I've been around a few times with friends or at work or out in social situations, and I have felt this immense pressure to not announce when it's me that they're speaking with, because oftentimes it's much easier to just allow them to assume that they're speaking to one of the hosts and that their conversation is happening with a person that they feel familiar with. But that also doesn't feel quite honest. And sometimes it's easier to blend into the background or just be a part of the crowd. When we were first diagnosed, I remember some of our friends and even our therapist saying that this is information that is personal to us. We don't have to share this with the world. And while we realize that that's true and that this is something our brain has done to protect us, we also don't feel like we're being fully authentic when we know that the person on the other side of the conversation thinks that they're speaking to someone else, and we're just picking up that conversation where they left off. It feels very strange. And so we're trying to learn how to unmask and trying to give ourselves the freedom to be more open in spaces that feel safe, and allowing the different parts of our system to express themselves when they want, how they want to. And that can look very different day to day. I am well aware that I dress quite different than Blue tends to dress. Especially, like, our average workday clothes look nothing like me. I'm also aware that I dress a lot more feminine than some of our other headmates. There have been a few times that one of our masculine or male alters has switched in after I've been out, and I respect the fact that they don't immediately want to take our makeup off when I've spent time doing fancy makeup, but whenever they've fronted after I've been fronting, especially when we have our makeup all done up, there's just an immediate sense of, I'm not supposed to be here, this feels very uncomfortable, you can be here instead, you did the makeup, I'm not going to take it off for you, but you go take the driver's seat again because something's wrong here. That actually happened at the meet and greet. I did the makeup for the gala portion of that night. We ended up changing, and while we were getting ready, I sort of switched out, and I say sort of, I switched out, and while we had done a group vote before we had left for the trip, we had narrowed down outfits and chose exactly what we were going to wear for the meet and greet portion, as well as the gala in the evening. And no one really specified what we were doing with our makeup, so I kind of took that as it was fair game, and no one seemed to really have any complaints about that. Although I will say there was a male alter that got very close to the front at one point and was like, well, I'd like to meet our friends. You guys can go ahead with this one. I'll just sort of stay back here. And I can kind of understand why. I also feel a bit similarly when we're dressed more masculine and then I show up. I don't always feel like myself. And in fact, I really wanted to wear a wig that we own today. That's my favorite wig that we own. But it's about 90 degrees outside, and it was incredibly hot, like under the wig, so just to stay cool and for our own health's sake, I decided to just do my hair a bit differently today, or pull it back. We were wearing a hat earlier, but we went to this like comic and craft fair and went to a few yard sales and rummage sales with a friend, and had a lot of fun. And while we were there, I ended up getting this. I absolutely love it. It's like this dragon hair clip, pin kind of thing, and I think it's super cool. So I thought that getting this clip today was a bit of a nice consolation, at least. I love it. I think it fits my vibe quite well. Jay is definitely co-conscious because I'm noticing just constant influence in some of the ways that we're speaking right now. And they keep saying, like, very close to the front, but in the background, that they're not trying to take things over and they're trying to give me the space to speak right now, but we're very blendy and co-conscious right now, and it's sort of hard to tell who's fully fronting, so take that with how you will. But we've been doing some reflecting on what we want this channel to look like moving forward, and we wanted to give you a little bit of an update on what to expect from us moving forward. We have footage recorded. Several of us recorded our thoughts before the meet and greet about how we were feeling about it, and we've also recorded videos of us planning for the travel, and packing and what that looked like for us, and how we picked out outfits, and how we got ready for the trip, and our experience traveling as a person with a disability as well as mental health issues. And we tried our best to document that experience throughout the entire process. But being that we were recording through the entire trip and even after, there's a lot of footage to go through, and we also have a day job that we work, and we also have a disability with chronic fatigue as one of the most challenging symptoms that we deal with on a nearly daily basis, or an absolute daily basis, at least to some extent. Some days are better than others, but there is a term used to describe chronic illness called the spoon theory. And the spoon theory is an analogy for chronic illness and chronic fatigue or limited energy, to say that living with chronic illness is sort of like getting so many spoonfuls of energy per day. And some of us never really liked this analogy because it felt so limiting, but I think it's quite accurate in its description, because with chronic illness, it feels like you get so much energy in a day, and each task that you complete, whether it is taking out the trash, doing the dishes, putting on an outfit, going out somewhere, all of those tasks take a certain amount of energy. If you don't have enough energy to complete the tasks that you're wanting to do or trying to complete, then you're sort of borrowing energy that's not there. If you've ever heard someone speaking of false energy pushing through when you're too tired to keep going, that's what a lot of our daily experiences can feel like. And when we don't listen to our body and we don't take breaks and we keep pushing through those things, then sometimes the next day can lead to a flare-up or less energy for us to have, because while we can push through, it will lead to consequences later. We'll wake up in more pain, and eventually there's only so far that you can push before your body just can't keep up. I forgot where I was going with that. With editing and keeping up with everything, we've been very busy. We've also just been trying to navigate our own mental health. We've been dealing with a lot of emotional highs and lows, and some days look much better than others. Some days are easier than others, and because of that, our editing schedule is not currently linear either. So we will try to edit this and put it out there pretty soon. Maybe you'll be seeing this on the day that marks 1 year since our diagnosis. We'll try to do that. It is June 3rd today, and if you are seeing this on June 6th, then it has been 1 year since we were diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. And we're trying to be open about it, and we want to continue to try to be open about it. And We have a lot of footage that we've recorded, and whatever timeline that is shown to you guys on, that's what it is. We're trying to give ourselves space to be open on our own terms and on our own timelines, and as we each feel comfortable. So we thank you for the space for us to figure that out. Thank you for coming with us on this journey, and we're excited to see the shape that takes, to see what form this takes as we grow. And it's exciting to have something to look back on, to document our experiences and our healing and our journey, because we've not had a consistent space for that. And especially, we've not had a space where we felt like we could open up to others. It's not been a consistent thing. We've reached out to friends and opened up here and there as we can, but documenting our experiences and our journey, we'd love to have these videos as a way to sort of look back on our experiences, because we journal a lot, but we'll have like 5 different journals, and each of us will have different journals or notes apps or forms that they feel most comfortable communicating in. And because of that, it has been very difficult for us to keep track of when somebody has written something or recorded something or put something into the world for the rest of us to see. Sometimes we will find post-it notes or journal entries or videos that were recorded even weeks ago that we won't realize have been recorded. Sorry to anyone that has reached out to us by text or things like that, but the amount of times that someone has texted us and one of us has read it and been like, oh, that was definitely Jay's conversation, or that must have been Blue, or I don't know who wrote that, that's an intense conversation. It can be very awkward to see that the last thing you sent was, I'm not doing okay, I'm having a panic attack, I'm so upset, and then you switch out and you're doing relatively okay. Maybe we've still been stressed, but not all of us have the same stresses. And so when someone switches out and says, hey, how are you doing? And you know that that part of you is still not doing okay, but you're handling things okay, it can be very awkward to know how to respond to that, especially if you're nervous to say, well, that's not who's here anymore, sorry, because we don't want to worry people by saying, hey, that last conversation you had wasn't me, or just jumping into what was otherwise an intense conversation with, hey, I'm doing great, how are you? Because we imagine it can feel quite jarring, or would be quite jarring, to all of a sudden feel like the conversation has just jolted to another form of conversation. So historically, we've been terrible at replying to text messages, because especially when one of us checks it and says, this isn't my conversation, I'll just wait for them to find this later. Well, when that unread text message notification goes away because one of us has read it, and then someone else switches out and doesn't realize that the person they were talking to ever replied, sometimes we find text messages like a week later and realize, oh no, I wasn't the last person to reply, I left them unread, oops. And for years we just felt really bad about that. We're like, I'm terrible at replying, I'm sorry. And now we have the context for that, but it has not helped us be better at replying a lot of the time. I feel like it's mostly Jay right now, and it's really weird to admit that because we're actively recording a video and we're still very co-conscious, but it feels like we both had things to say, and so we keep losing our train of thought, and one of us will start a thought process and then the other will get on a tangent and we'll realize that we don't remember what we were speaking about. And it feels very vulnerable for that to be happening on camera. So I think I'm gonna go for now. We're gonna make some dinner here and get some water because it is very hot. It is still like in the 90-degree range outside right now. And I think we're gonna give ourselves a little bit of downtime, but this video was mostly made to update you guys about the fact that there will be more videos coming out as we can produce them and put them out to you. We're excited to open up more and to connect to a community and to find people that want to get to know us for us. And we hope that these videos can bring a sense of comfort to others who are going through similar experiences and can be eye-opening for those who maybe haven't experienced something similar to the things that we're going through. We're not educators, we're not experts in the field. We are simply a system sharing their experience navigating the world. And I think that in itself can be valuable in the way that every person has a different experience in the world and can learn something valuable from meeting another human and connecting with a new experience. So that's what we're hoping to do here. And thank you for allowing us the space to do that. And we are excited to share more videos with you and move forward. And we liked our outfit and our makeup today and wanted to share that with you guys as well. And just sort of give an update on where we're at with things. And yeah, I am dissociating very heavily right now, so I'm gonna go get some food and maybe we'll be back to update this a little later. If not, thank you for watching. If you're interested in following along for our journey, then go ahead and subscribe. If you liked this video, give it a like. If you have any questions or comments about things that you would like to see from our channel, we would love to know, hear your feedback in the comments. And thank you for being here. Bye. Until next time. I really do love this outfit. I have like this purple, like purple to blue. Like there's like a pink toned purple and then like a blue toned purple. And that is one of my favorite colors, by the way. Like that sort of color shift, blue to purple, favorite color. I know that's technically two sort of colors, but I can never find like exactly my favorite color. It's like somewhere between blue and purple. And this is one of my favorite eyeshadows for that reason. There's two different eyeshadows. One is like sort of a deep, like royal blue, and then the other one is almost a color shift of like a violet to indigo kind of purples. And I really like it. So, also, I cannot get over this hair clip. So cool. Very glad that we got that. So, anyway. Bye.